Welcome to the Road of Life podcast, the show for married entrepreneurs who want to build a thriving marriage and a thriving business.
We're your hosts, Meredith and Craig, marriage coaches and entrepreneurs ourselves. We know firsthand that your business will only grow as strong as your marriage does.
On this podcast, we share real stories, practical tools, and honest conversations to help you strengthen your relationship, fuel your business, and build a life you love together. Let's dive in. This week, we're excited to be joined by Robin Carr, award-winning international speaker, mindset coach, and motivator, passionate about helping others rise above fear, doubt, and limitation to thrive unapologetically.
Her journey from corporate America to entrepreneur is brave and full of hard-won lessons, and she shares it all. We cover a lot of ground together, from self-worth to accountability to gratitude to check-in questions to big dreams. Buckle up, because this episode is going to leave you inspired to do the work. Welcome, Robin Carr.
We're super excited to have you, Robin. We're really thrilled you're here.
Thank you so much, guys. I am so excited that we connected through CLA, and I'm so happy to be here. So thank you so much for inviting me to be a part of your podcast today.
Oh, our pleasure. We're excited. So why don't you tell us a little bit about how you got here? Tell us a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was in the corporate world for over 20 years and went from kind of all different areas, from sales to politics and government to working in the school system, all different things, but nothing ever felt like it fit. So last year, working in sales, there was a ton of layoffs last year. My company was one of them, and it was a blessing in disguise. I went from making a lot of money, more money than I had ever made in my entire life, to making no money. And I finally had to listen to this little voice that was like, hey, you're meant to do something greater. You're meant for something bigger than this. You're not supposed to be, in sales for somebody else. So the past year has been a lot of personal development. My story from birth is not one of sunshine and rainbows. It was a little bit of trauma and a whole lot of growth. And so the little voice was telling me to share that story. So I really dove into that, and I started trying to figure out, what does that look like? How do I do it? Where do I even start to do it? And met some really awesome, I guess, coaches, if you will, who have kind of guided me along the way. And I have started doing motivational speaking. I just won an award last month, and soon to be international. Now I'm going to be in an anthology. It's kind of just going. So yeah.
That's super exciting. And congratulations on the speaking award. That's amazing. Your story is so similar.
There's a lot of parallels.
We've lived an interesting parallel story together, I think. We also,
at least from the corporate perspective,
were in corporate.
Okay.
And then it was during COVID when our company was restructuring and doing things, and we had the opportunity to move across the country, keep our jobs, get promoted, or leave. And like you, we had been making a lot of money and went from lots of money to, oh crap, what are we going to do? And I don't know about you, but it was a really stressful transition for us, because we were pretty type A, like to have a plan, love a good checklist. This is exactly what we're going to do. And we didn't have that. So what was your transition like from like the structured corporate, you knew exactly what you were doing kind of every day, to the next thing? How did that transition go for you?
Yeah. So very much just like you said, it was from, oh, this is fantastic, to what the heck do I do now? But for me personally, it actually led me into the greatest depression of my entire life. And I'm not the type of person that's ever been depressed. Like, I was the cheerleader and the dancer and all these things, and I got super depressed. And I remember telling my husband and the friends and family that were closest to me, I don't remember the last time I smiled. And when I was cognizant enough to actually hear those words and how hurtful they were to the ones who loved and support me and were trying to help me, I was like, okay, I can no longer live like this. Like, I've got to do something. And so I have a BS in psychology. So I did not care anything about that BS. For years, I thought that it was, in fact, BS. And so I dove back into that. I started reading articles and reading books and figuring out, like, okay, how can I help myself to be able to understand not only what I'm going through, but how do I get out of it? So that's what I did. And I dove really deep into all of that kind of stuff. And for a long time, I didn't know what the next step was. Like I said, I was trying to figure it out. And in this personal development journey, I started on Instagram, just making reels. Like it was kind of my live journal, if you will. And from there, people started following me. They started liking what I had to say. They were like, hey, me too. Like this resonates. And it was kind of cool to really feel that with other people. So, yeah, I went from, because I'm very much type A also, and had to learn how to create my own structure and have my own systems. So the Miracle Morning changed my life. I will give him props every day of the week. If you haven't read the book, read the book.
Mhm.
But I mean, that's where it all started for me. And then it just very quickly transitioned in the past year.
So where are you now? I know you've got, I think it's Thrive Unapologetically. So talk to
That's
us a little
correct.
bit about that.
Yeah. So Thrive Unapologetically is very new. I am rebranding myself as we speak. I started out just thinking of I was going to be overcoming adversity and negativity with mindset. Well, now I understand that was very primitive thinking. And so Thrive Unapologetically is absolutely everything about me to a T. And everything that I do now, my goal is not just to do it, but to actually thrive in doing it. And I'm unapologetically myself. I spent years thinking that I wasn't worthy, I wasn't enough, I wasn't insert X. And now I'm not going to ever be rude to anybody because that's not who I am either. But I am like, this is me and I'm very confident in me and I love myself. And this is the first time in my life that I've ever really could say that. Like, so, Thrive Unapologetically, those are the people that I want. They are stuck in the negative mindset. And then, I'm the bridge that helps them come to the positive side of life, if you will, and helps them really thrive because there is a huge difference between just surviving and really thriving in life. And now that I'm here, I want everybody on board with me. So that's how I came up with Thrive Unapologetically.
I love it. There's such an epidemic in the world. We say it all the time of unworthiness. So it's so cool to have people like you who have, we all struggle with it. So you've struggled with it, but now you're reaching your hand back and pulling others along the journey with you to the feeling of worthiness and to understand how see their own greatness and what they're capable of and helping them, thrive unapologetically.
So, because we've both been on this journey and done this work. And so I'm curious, what did your worthiness journey look like to go from where you were to where you are now?
Ooh, that's a long journey. How much time do we have? No, I'm just kidding. So very truthfully, my lack of worthiness started when I was a child. It started with my dad. And my biological father, about 6 weeks after I was born, decided he didn't want to be a part of my life. And when I was old enough to understand, like he did come back into my life, but I was constantly chasing him. And in chasing him, I was chasing pain. I was chasing the idea that we had to constantly prove to ourselves and to everybody else that we were enough and that we did deserve love and the basic things in life. And unfortunately, I kind of carried that through my entire life, through past relationships and just in general. And even at work, I was the one that was like, sorry, boss. Yes, boss. Whatever you need, boss. Like, because I didn't think that oh, did I hit a nerve? I didn't think that I was like good enough because
Mhm.
I didn't think that I don't know, like some corporate whoever was asking me to do a task. And if I didn't do it right now perfectly, that it wasn't okay. And I've struggled very hard with the view of perfectionism. And I put a lot of stress and a lot of pressure unnecessarily on myself. And honest to goodness, I don't know what happened to me in the past year. But in this personal development journey, I finally just woke up one morning and was like, no, no, stop it. And my husband is a godsend. And for years, he's been telling me to stop talking to myself in the way that I was and the you're not enough and, always apologizing for things that weren't my fault that I couldn't control. But I didn't hear him for all of those years. And it wasn't until I was in the right mindset and the right time and the right place to really receive what he was saying. And then it just stopped. And then all of a sudden it turned into like, I would catch myself and be like, no, I am worthy. And then I started doing it to my friends and I didn't even consciously mean to. It just kind of erupted. Like, my friend would be like, "Oh, I'm not good enough. Like, I can't do this." I'm like, "No, stop it. Shut up. You are. Like, you're amazing." And it just kind of happened. So now maybe I'm on the other end of the spectrum where maybe I need to tone it down a little bit, but I don't think I believe in that. Like, I think that we are all very worthy and we are all more than enough. And the gifts that we all have individually, it's just beautiful. And I have a whole new perspective on life. So that journey has been hard. I'm 34 and it's taken me my whole life to understand that. But I'll say this final thing about that and then we can move forward. The really cool thing to me though is, so I have a 15-year-old niece and she started paying attention to the things that I say, which I love, but I love it even more because now she's catching herself at 15 and she's catching other people around her and her friends. And she's like, "Hey, Robin, so and so said they weren't enough today. And I put up your video and told them, no, ma'am, you are enough." And that just makes my heart so happy.
Yeah, it's legacy, right? Not only the fact that you're doing this work on yourself and the impact that you're having on your immediate circle, but the ripple effect that that has, like your niece picking it up and then her, teaching, her friends, and then they're going home and they're teaching their siblings and their parents, and like the ripple effect that you're having, that decision that you made, and the number of people that are impacted by it because of that is so cool.
It's interesting because that's the one thing I really didn't see. It's one of the things I really didn't see coming when we got into this work, because we work a lot with married couples and their relationship. And it's interesting once they start transforming their relationship, how the kids also respond, because
Yes.
kids are going to go out subconsciously and recreate the relationship they saw growing up. They're gonna go look for that relationship. And when you change your relationship, you change the relationship the kids look for. So they're now going to be in a different relationship when they grow up than they were. And then we've got a couple that we work with, and we've really been working on self-worth stuff and mirror work and talking to yourself and that kind of thing. And she's been getting the kids to do it. And so she'll send us pictures of her kids that are like 8, 11, talking to themselves in the mirror, giving themselves high fives, like telling them they love each other. Like, it's just the most beautiful thing to see the impact on the kids, because I really didn't expect that part. Like that ripple, that first ripple out. I was so focused on the couple that we're working with, I didn't see the impact it was going to have on their kids, and then how it expands out from there. So that's been a really cool experience for us that it seems like you're also experiencing, which is cool.
Leads me into another question, because if someone's listening to this and they haven't taken that same journey that you have, and they aren't kind of aware of their own worthiness and their own greatness, what's one or two things that you did that really worked for you to transform your view of yourself?
So I love this question. I had a speaking event last month and someone asked me this question too. I journaled a
Yeah.
lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I started paying attention to, this is what people don't realize. It's not just what you say out loud, it's your thoughts. And so I really started paying attention to not just what am I thinking, but how am I thinking it? How am I talking to myself? What is my tonality? And because we pay attention to that when we talk to our best friend or our spouse, we're like, oh, I don't want to hurt their feelings. Like, let me think about how I'm going to say this. But we don't do that with ourselves. That was the biggest lesson that I learned. And then if I had a thought, and I wish I could give you an example. I don't have like a great example off the top of my head, but if I had a thought, and whether it was like a woe is me or a super negative thought or all of the bad things are going to happen because of X, I would write it down. And then I would write down, okay, what about this is factual? What about this is something that I should actually be afraid of or worried about, or insert X that's like a negative emotion? And what about this have I created in my head? Now that one's hard too. And I just did a whole speech on fear, but people put different stories in their brains and their minds listen to them because they're believable. Just like if you have been in a car accident and you're scared to drive again. Well, now you are igniting that fear of flight in your brain that tells you that every time you get behind the wheel of a car, something bad's going to happen. So you have to positively condition yourself to be like, no, I've driven a lot of times and was perfectly fine. And so that's what I started to do. Like, I started to really analyze my thoughts, and it's very uncomfortable in the beginning. You kind of have to have conversations with your head, and you're not crazy. Like, it's okay. Um, but that's what I had to do. And then I also, this was a big thing too. So my mom, my best friend, and my husband, I challenged them and I said, if you hear me say something negative, call me out on it. If you hear me talking bad about myself, call me out on it. And that was very powerful too. And then I read a book called The Magic by Rhonda Byrne, which I highly recommend that one too. It's all about gratitude. And one of her, it's like a 28-day journal prompt. And one of the chapters in that book is that you go 7 days without complaining. Now, that sounds pretty easy-ish, but we complain about everything as humans. Oh, it's too cold. It's too hot. I've got too many things to do. My kids have, like, whatever, we get ourselves all up in a tizzy. And so every time I would complain, I would write it down and start over. And then I would be grateful for whatever it was that I just complained about. It was a very powerful thing that I did. It didn't just come easy because there's a lot of self-work in there that's behind the scenes. And you have to be cognizant enough and vulnerable enough to say, look, I'm not perfect, but I'm trying.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes the biggest difference.
I love what you just said, Robin, that it takes a lot of work. Like, it didn't just happen. You didn't just wake up one morning and realize, I am worthy. God, what's my problem all these 30 years? Like, it took a lot of really intentional work and a high level of accountability. And I love that you also recruited your people, like your immediate circle, to say, hey, I need some help. Hold me accountable. Because accountability, responsibility, that's kind of the first step. Well, awareness is the first step, but then taking ownership of it after that, being aware of it, and then digging your heels in and saying, no, like, I own this now. I'm accountable. I need your help to hold me accountable, but I am changing, and it's not easy work. All that level of journal, that level of self-reflection, that level of internal dialogue, that filter you try to put on yourself to catch every one of those complaints and every one of those negative thoughts. It can be an avalanche some days. Like, it's hard work. And so I just so appreciate you calling that part out. Like, this is not easy. It's worth it. The work is worth it for sure, but it's not easy work.
Talk to us a little bit about, now that you're in a better place from, with regards to your view of yourself and your worthiness. Talk about the level of work still required to maintain that level of worthiness. Like, it's not like, oh, I'm worthy now, and then you're just done. Or is it? Maybe it is. Like, let's talk about that.
I wish.
Yeah, me too.
So I'm human, just like everybody else. And I have really awesome days and really, really low days. And it's not like a depression thing. There's just sometimes life is hard. Like, whether it's you just lost someone you love, you lost your job. Like, right now, I know a lot of people are not getting paid. We're not going to talk about politics, but I know, like, sometimes life is just hard.
Mm-hmm.
And there's certain situations that, regardless, if you wake up in the morning and you do your morning routine and you were positive and you're awesome, you're having a great day, things happen.
Mm-hmm.
And it is still constant. It's easier because now I'm more aware, but it's a constant thing. And, like, even, I mean, I still have days when I'm like, I don't understand. Why is this happening? Why can't things just work out? Like, I'm not perfect. I'll tell anybody that, but I'm perfect at trying because I can hear it now and I can say, okay, let's back up. Like, here's the things that we can control and here's the things that we can't control. And I don't know about you guys, but being a type A personality, that is one of the hardest things to handle, is that I can't control everything. So it is a constant struggle, but I do love that the people around me now, especially my husband, my inner circle, but even that ripple's getting bigger, they can kind of see when I'm struggling. And so they will ask me and blatantly and be like, okay, what's going on? Like, let's talk about it. And that's really cool for me because it's not just that they're holding me accountable, but that they can see the difference. Because I will tell anybody very quickly, I am not the person that I was a year ago. I don't even know that girl anymore. And I'm glad that I don't. I mean, I do, but I don't.
Mhm.
And like, it's so cool that they can see it now and they're like, okay, let's talk about this. Like, what's going on in the core here? Where do we need to work on? And my husband started doing this with me too. And the change that we've noticed, not just in our lives separately, but our lives together and even his life at work and what he does, it's just super powerful. And it's just, I mean, it is a constant struggle, but like you said, it is worth it. And I still go back to the miracle morning. And if I'm having a rough day, I might do 2 miracle mornings because sometimes I need a little extra help. And it doesn't have to be morning time. Like, so when I first started, I was like, okay, my miracle morning, I got to do da 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 da, and let me just check off these boxes. But now I know myself well enough. Like, it might be 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And if I've had a whole bunch of stuff happen, I'm like, hey, I'm going to go for a bike ride. I'm going to go for a run. I'll be back. But that's my space, right? And that's how I know whatever I need to do or not do to like reset my energy and to really tap back into whatever. And I've got certain playlists that I listen to where usually during a bike ride, I just sit there and list off all the things that I'm grateful for. I'm grateful for that I own a bike. I'm grateful for a place that's safe to ride a bike. And I just start very basically. And by the end of the mile-and-a-half loop, I'm in a much better place already.
Mhm.
So once you find that thing that kind of works for you, you can put it in anywhere. Silence is another big one for me too. I drive a lot for my other job, and um, I do that all the time. Like, I'll just sit with my thoughts and
Mhm.
make sure that they are healthy thoughts and they're positive and good and uplifting and grateful. So it is still a journey though.
Yeah, I love that. I love you've said a lot there. The one thing that I and all good stuff, and the one thing that I keyed in on a little bit that I want to go back to was the impact that it's having on your relationship with your husband and how he's kind of joined in and he's doing some of this stuff. Talk to us a little bit more about that because we hear a lot of time when you jump into entrepreneurship, sometimes the spouse isn't really, you know, kind of in that world. They're in their corporate. They don't want to jump into the entrepreneurship. And what we realized was when you jump into entrepreneurship, you it seems to pull you into personal growth. It just has this way of like you're like, yeah, but your business is going to suck until you start to work on you. So come along for this ride.
Which is really
Yes.
a quick timeout, a really interesting something else we've noticed too, because in corporate, we can be super successful and climb our corporate ladder and get all our promotions and raises without doing any work on ourselves at all. In
Yeah.
fact, that perfectionism and that worthiness kind of works in your favor. Like, works in their favor, I guess, but in terms of climbing the corporate ladder. But once you jump out of corporate and into entrepreneurship, it's like, whoa, our business is only going to go as far as we do. So now all of a sudden we have to work on ourselves. And that is a totally different ballgame than it used to be. So going back to what you were saying, sometimes that can cause a little friction in the relationship when one is all in on personal growth and this crazy entrepreneurship game, and the other one is still in their same like role, position, job, business, whatever, and it hasn't changed. So talk to us about how that transition has gone for you two as
Yeah.
a unit, as a team.
It's really funny that you guys bring this up. So my husband from day one, corporate, not corporate, whatever, has always been my biggest fan and my biggest supporter. When I was laid off, he was trying to help me however he could to quote find a new job. And I told him, I was like, I don't think I want that. So there was a I don't like the word tension because it wasn't like we were arguing and fighting. There was discussions about, hey, we have bills to pay and you're not working, and what are we going to do about that?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, I'm going to figure it out, but it doesn't look like what your definition is. So as all of this kind of started, it took him a while to kind of understand the personal and the mindset part of it. He's now coming along more than he used to be, but he's still not like on the same page with me. Sometimes he still's like, okay, stop with the woo woo, which is what my mama calls like the
Yeah.
all the
Don't
stuff.
blame.
But I say this and I laugh because so at the competition in New York, we were sitting down. I had just been rehearsing and I just looked at him and I was like, I never really asked you. And he was like, you never asked me what? And I was like, are you okay with my life, like being just like all over the internet and speaking on stages and whatever? And he was like, no, you never did. He's like, sure, I'm good. And I was like, oh, okay. So it was funny though, because like he has always supported me with very minimal questions. But that conversation was comical. But we do this thing, and I started this last year with him. Every night, I ask him what he's grateful for. And it's kind of our way, because, hey, how was your day? Kind of gets lost
Yeah.
because it was fine. It was good. It was busy. I was in meetings, whatever, insert X. What are you grateful for? Forces you to stop and think. And it forces you to have a cognizant, I am grateful for X, whatever. And what's really cool for me is that sometimes he'll say, you know what, today was a terrible day. I don't really have anything today. What are you grateful for? And I'll start talking about different things, and then that'll trigger something for him.
Mhm.
Well, now we're both in a better place. And to say that, I said this in a speech back in August, our marriage has always been good. Now our marriage is phenomenal,
Yeah.
like phenomenal. And I can't stress that enough. Like, I wish if there's any marriage counselors out there, please use this. Like, they got to work on themselves to be able to better love each other. Because I didn't know that.
There's a whole lot of gold in there.
Oh, man.
So like, yeah, we're relationship coaches.
You've
and
been listening to our
a lot
podcast,
of
haven't
a
you?
lot of stuff that you just said it's right from our
Oh my God.
right from our framework. Like
So
it's so true.
So we've got a framework that's got five, like we believe there's 5 commitments that make a thriving marriage. I love the word thrive too, by the way. So the first commitment is actually 100% responsibility, which we've already talked about a little bit. And the second commitment is a commitment to yourself, because you can only love someone else to the degree you love yourself. And this is the most important relationship you're ever going to have. If you can't get that one right, the rest of them all pile on top of that one. So we are super aligned in our approach to relationships, which I love. And the second thing I wanted to jump in on is we call it a check-in question at night before bed. And we say the generic, how was your day, sucks. It's just
Yes.
fine.
It was fine. It was
Like,
good.
it's an
good.
it's
How
an
about you?
autopilot response. There's no thought, there's no engagement. And so when you ask that question, the person who's saying fine doesn't feel like you actually care anyway, because people ask you all day, every day, like, oh, hi, how are you? As you're walking past, and like no one actually cares about your answer. So those generic questions don't make you feel like anyone actually cares about your answer. But when you ask something specific, like, what are you grateful for? What was the best part of your day today? What's one thing you learned today? Like something very specific, the other person has to stop, to your point, and think. And that stopping to think makes them feel like you actually care, because they have to do some work now. And it makes you two feel more connected to each other. So it's a little habit that just solidifies your connection at the end of the day. And so I love that you guys are doing that. That's so cool.
What made you start doing that? Or where did you, or was it just organic? Like it just came to you? Like where did it come from?
It was sometime when I was reading The Magic, and this was another one of those times when life was hitting hard because I wasn't working, and I used to make a lot more money than he did, and so there was a lot of tension. We weren't fighting, just like financial tension and stuff. But like started reading The Magic, and then I started journaling with her prompts about what I was grateful for, and it made me feel better.
Mhm.
And I started being grateful for the money that we do have, or did have, and the money that we had in savings, and that we were okay, and that we had been smart with our money even to be so young. And I remember I journaled about money like a lot, because I was like, that was my pain point. And so when I started doing that, and then it made me feel better, well, it kind of started as a joke a little bit, because I don't remember what happened, but he had had like a rough day. For the record, like he's active duty military. So he had had a very rough day, and I just remember talking to him, and like he was just angry, like not at me, just about his day, and it had just been bad. And I just looked at him and was like, "What are you grateful for?" And he's like, what do you, what are you talking about? Like, I'm mad right now." And I was like, "Yeah, but what are you grateful for?" And it like stopped, it like changed his whole demeanor, because like we said, like he had to stop and think about, okay, I do have things to be grateful for. And then it just kind of took off from there. I think about gratitude 24/7. He and I talk about gratitude at nighttime because he does get a little annoyed with me, but he loves it. He's just like, I'm just not there yet. Rhonda Byrne, in her book, she gives the example of if you get a speeding ticket, that you're grateful for the police officers who kept you safe and that you didn't hit someone else or you didn't hurt someone else.
Yeah.
And that's how I've started living my life, 1,000%. And so the two of us together, and he'll do it for me too. Like if I'm having a rough day, now he started like, what are you grateful for?
Nice.
And it helps a lot because it flips it and it makes you back in that, what I call my happy space, my happy little bubble. It's huge. Like the impact is just so different versus, oh, I had a crap day. Now I'm going to be ugly to my spouse. And now I'm going to be ugly to the dog or the neighbor or the whatever. That one little sentence, what are you grateful for? And it's just like, whoa,
Yeah.
like, I have goosebumps.
Turns everything around.
It's so hard to be angry when you're thinking about what you're grateful for. Like it's the switch flips. Like you can't hold both energies at the same time. So you're either going to be angry or you're going to be grateful, but you can't be both.
You can't be both. That's exactly right.
Yeah, and it aligns so perfectly with something we always say is the universe is always working in your favor. Going back to your example of the
Speeding ticket.
The speeding ticket. It's like, yeah, it sucked that I have to pay this fine, but you know what? Universe working in my favor. If I didn't get pulled over, maybe I do hit someone down the road a little bit further. And so it's just the universe working in your favor, teaching you that lesson so that you can move forward and do better next time.
Mm-hmm.
You had a quote, a gold nugget, and it's your past does not define you, it prepares you. I like that.
So good.
I love that.
So good.
Talk to us about that.
Yeah. As I was preparing for New York, just to give you guys a little bit of information about that competition. So day 1 was a 10-minute speech on your professional story. Day 2 was a 5-minute speech on your personal journey or story. So I'm writing my speech, I'm practicing, like I'm rehearsing, like I'm trying different language or whatever, and I just said it. And when I said it, I was like, oh, let me sit with that for a minute. And as I sat with it, of course, I journaled about it because that's my thing. It's so true because, like I told you guys, like my life was not always sunshine and rainbows. But my past, I used to think defined me. I used to believe that I was a victim and that all of these things had happened to me. But now I understand, like you said about the universe and things working in your favor, everything happened for me. And that change in my attitude, it really, those simple words, that's what it is. Like, yeah, you can play the victim card. You can play the woe is me card. You can play the whatever card you want to play. But when you start to realize like all of these things, even the bad things, which took me a very long time to understand, very long time. Even those things happened for your greater good. They happened so that I could have a healthy marriage now, that I could be in a healthy headspace. So it doesn't. It prepares you for who you're supposed to be in life. That's what I believe. I believe that everything that I went through in my past was preparing me to be able to serve the people that I need to serve right now. Because there's plenty of people that get up here and they talk about things that they know nothing about. They try to pretend, which is so sad, that they have all these things that never actually happened to them. But when you've lived it, and like you said, I've been through that worthiness journey. I understand. And so if you come to me and you're like, Robin, I don't know how to feel like my life has meaning. Cool, let's talk about it. I've been there.
Mm-hmm.
And when you can connect with people from a much deeper place, it's so much more genuine and authentic. And it's just easier. And what I've found is that people love that energy. They love that I have a heart of a servant and I will genuinely care about them. Like once you're in my circle and I get to know you, I pick up on different things. And if I'm like, hey, you're not yourself today, what's up? Like, let's talk about it. Let's get on a call. And that's just who I am. So like I have leaned hard into that. Like something that just came out of my mouth accidentally. I don't believe that it was by accident, not for a second.
Nope.
Yeah.
I also love what you just said towards the end there about you are genuinely you, and people connect with that. And that for me ties back to what we talked about earlier in this episode about perfectionism. You went through a hard perfectionism season for a long time, as did I, as did he. People don't connect with perfection. When you portray that perfectionist persona out to the world, which we, all three of us, I think, tried to do for a long time, people don't connect with that because we all know on the inside that we're not perfect. So if I think that you're perfect, I was like, well, shoot, I can't connect with her at all. And so you actually repel people by trying to be this perfect version of you. But when you show up as you, as the messy, beautiful you that you are, people connect to genuine, people connect to messy, people connect to imperfect. And that's why you can create such beautiful connections and relationships with people, because you show up as you are.
Thriving unapologetically.
Yeah.
Talk to us 5 years from now. Where are we? What do you see for Robin Carr and Thrive Unapologetically? What are you excited about?
A lot. No, so I am super excited to be on bigger stages, making that ripple a lot bigger. But also, I've got really big dreams. So I'm going to be in my first anthology next year. I'm going to write my own book because I want to, and because people are already asking me for it. I might write a couple books. We'll see. 5 years from now, all right, I'm going to give you guys my big goal dreams. My husband is retiring from the military. He can in 5 years. So my dream, and I told him this the other day and he kind of chuckled, but I want to be on stages and doing enough through this business, through coaching and everything else, that we are traveling the world and I am speaking to the many, but that we are together traveling the world and doing the things that we love, and that this business that I'm starting now is paying for all of that. Like that his retirement money is just going to be our like, hey, let's have fun and do whatever kind of money. That's the dream.
I love that. That's awesome.
That's very cool.
I love it.
What's the 2 questions? 1, what's the anthology you're in? And 2, I want to hear more about the book you're writing.
Yeah. So I am also part of Jesse Cruz group, and his wife, Desiree Cruz. And Desiree Cruz has a series called Warrior Women. This is now the 4th book in that series. And so that's the anthology that I'm in. So I met Jessie a year ago. I just met Desiree last month at the competition. She is phenomenal. But I already want all of the books because of the women that I already know that are in her circle that are in previous versions. It's going to be very cool. And my chapter is on empowerment. I don't know exactly what yet, but I'm headlining the cruise. So it's super awesome. Very excited about that. My book, oh no. I have a lot of ideas, but I love one the most. That's my story. And trying to not make it 10,000 pages, from like the trauma to the corporate to where I am now in the entrepreneurship. I want to do something funky though, and like make the title something else, like call it a taco stand, but I sell wings kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because for people in those situations, they can't always read self-help books without repercussions.
Yeah.
But they might could read a recipe book.
Cool.
So I kind of have that idea to where it would look like they were reading something else, maybe, but actually it would be helping them. It's kind of what I want to do.
Very cool.
Very cool. Embrace all of the ideas. Like one of the things that we got hung up on early days was it had to be done a certain way. Like, so someone would tell us like, oh, this is how I did it. And it's like,
That's
okay,
the
but
way
we're
it's
super
done.
coachable. And so we're like, okay, we'll do it that way. And what we realized eventually was, no, he's showing us how it worked for him. And you can take lessons and from his journey or their journey and apply it to yours. But you have to follow your heart. You have to follow your intuition. You have to listen to your own voice. And you have to write things and portray things in your voice. You're not them. You're you. So all your ideas, you can do it funky. You can do it weird or
You got
wild.
that idea for a reason, right?
Yeah. So do your self-help cookbook. If that's what is on your heart, do it. And we just finished writing our book And we took a very different take than most relationship books.
Yeah.
And so we're interested to see how that goes.
Yeah. We just wrote a book called The 200% Marriage. It's coming out in January. And it's very much not like any other relationship book. We took a very different approach, tone, voice, everything. It's very not a traditional relationship book. So we've gone way out into like the far lane here, and we're going to see how it goes.
So we're with you. We're swimming in the deep end with you.
Yeah.
So please send me that link because you already have my interest. I'm like, I want it. Like, can I pre-buy? Like, that's amazing. I love that.
We will look you up for sure.
Yeah, we'll definitely get you that link.
So how can people get in touch with you, Robin?
Yeah,
absolutely. The best way to get in touch with me right now is either Facebook or Instagram, either one. It's just at the Robin Carr. And either one of those are fantastic. My website will be up and running soon, and it will be phenomenal. I started with a very basic website. I have very quickly outgrown it. So it is going to be back and better than ever.
Congratulations. That's exciting.
That's awesome. And we'll have all of those links in the show notes.
Yes, for sure.
So you can
Perfect.
Easy access, Robin.
Yeah.
Yay.
Well, Robin, this was such a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us. I just love your energy, love your message. We are 100% behind you. Anything we can do.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. I so enjoyed this. I love you guys as well. I'm so happy and grateful for CLA that I can connect with people like you guys, because I don't think I ever would have met you otherwise. And this was very powerful. So thank you both.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Road of Life podcast. Remember, your business will only grow as strong as your marriage does.
So what's one action you're going to take this week to put something you learned in this episode into practice? Because we love a good chit-chat as much as the next person does. But without action, stay where you are.
If you want to turn your marriage into the engine that drives your business forward, instead of the brakes keeping it stuck, book a free marriage and business strategy session with us at 200percentmarriage.com/strategy call.
We'll see you next week.
Road of life, yes, you're on